I'm pretty proud of the fact I've been able to keep up with a book review for 3 times a week for 3 weeks, which makes me feel so much better after feeling so guilty about being gone for a year and a half. And I still kind of feel guilty, but not as bad. So tonight we're going to look at the final installment of the trilogy that got me into the fantasy genre itself. I should note that I actually got into fantasy about 3 years ago, but I didn't start reviewing until I had gotten myself into some of the more popular fantasy novels and trilogies and series. And yeah, I've been reading them for about 6 months. So if that makes you guys feel any better, you know, I was less of a noob when I started. Yeah. Anyways, so we're looking at the final installment of the book that got me into the entire fantasy genre, and that is going to be actually the trilogy by Brent Weeks. So we're going to look at Beyond the Shadows, which I have to say, these covers are just amazing. I love how, you know, they're rather just minimalistic in their own ways. This one not entirely, but it's enough to get your attention. So we're going to look at this book, which essentially what happens is we have the continuation from the second book, in which we have the introduction of the Godking up north, who could possibly destroy the world if he is successful in his plans. Now, what does Kylar have to do? He has to figure out if he can assassinate a goddess. And if he can't, then the Godking is going to be successful, and then the world will be in chaos, and essentially nobody's going to be able to stop him. So, you know, no hard pressure or no hard feelings, right? Yeah. Now, things that I liked with this book. First off, throughout the entire series, I feel as though the characters are what carries the Night Angel trilogy. We fall in love with them, we hate them, we wish the best, we wish the worst. It's the characters that pretty much carries this entire trilogy itself, and it does not stop in the third book. And then, you know, add in some amusing humor and some awesome assassination kind of secret stuff, and then a plot line. There we go. However, I personally feel it's the characters that just make the entire thing. Also, third book is much faster than the second book, which I loved so much more because, as I told you guys, it was slow for me and I didn't really like it as much. Third book I liked much better. It was very fast, it kept up with the pace, and there's action, which, yeah, you guys probably know by now that I obviously like action. I also don't really like reading things like Nicholas Sparks books because they're really girly and emotional and stuff. Anyways, off that topic, don't really know how we have to get there, but I enjoyed it more than the second book. It had great action, really enjoyed it. There's some great plot twists in it. I really like them. I also like the fact that because things are getting so much, they're getting more dire compared to, say, the first book, that with that we have to see how powerful some of those decisions will be, and in doing so we essentially reach the edges of this world, which helps show us the expansion of the dangers and the perils and essentially the entire world, because the entire world's going to be screwed up if Kylar does not do his job right. So we want to make sure we have the entire world in perspective now. Dislikes now. First off, there's these little things I called plot ninjas, which I learned from NaNoWriMo when I was doing that for a few years, in which, if you're unfamiliar with them, if you have a story or something's going on, you don't really like it, and you don't know where to go, and you're stuck, throw in some ninjas, and they'll mess everything up and kill people off or whatever. They'll do anything. So then you have multiple directions to go into, and you can do something completely different that makes you feel more accomplished when you're writing. I felt like Weeks did that with this book. There are so many random things that happen. I don't know how they get there. I don't know why they're there. I just felt like he just threw in a bunch of plot ninjas, had them screw everything up, and then he had a direction that he wanted to go in. So I disliked that. I felt as though it hindered the book itself. Also, the ending. A lot of people enjoyed the ending. I myself found it rather blah. Even before I got into Martin, I had always figured, you know, for an author to kill off your favorite character, that's a lot of guts. And I've always given them credibility for that. And as a thing after that, you know, I've always kind of felt as though if something becomes so stereotypically thought of where you can see the ending already, it's like, well, that's pointless. I don't like that. That's what I felt like the ending was for me. It was too, as I'm going to term it, happy sunshiny. Because I just felt like it was too perfect of an ending that I was like, no, thank you. I would have liked something else. So those were my bigger dislikes with the book itself. Overall, though, I'm going to give the book 3 out of 5 stars. It would have been 4, but the ending dropped it down a rating because I didn't like the ending. And I guess you could also go with the fact that I finished Game of Thrones last night, and everyone knows Martin kills off his characters, and they're characters that you love so dearly, and they're characters that you're like, but he was a good, moral, and just character. Why did you have to do that? And it's like, because the world's not fair. That's essentially how it runs down. So, that might have also run into some of my review, but like I kind of said, I've always given credibility to authors that screw things up. So, yeah, I hope you guys are having an awesome night. Merry August, by the way. For some of you, it's now the 3rd. That's my cat. And I will see you guys later. We'll see if I can get a book review up next week while I'm in Chicago. And if I do, that will be awesome. And yeah, I will go ahead and read some more books and figure out what's up with my cat. So you guys have a great night, and don't feed the trolls. And be sure to go check out all the links down below because they're all awesome. You can see tons of pictures of my cat on Instagram. Just saying. Bye!